Hello, everyone. Glad to see you back at Silver Tears Tarot. And of course, a warm welcome to anyone who is new here. So here we are, halfway through February, almost halfway. Seems like it happened kind of fast. I'm going to go ahead and pull the mid-month update today. It just felt right. So I'm going to go ahead and do it. And I remember when we looked in on things generally at the beginning of the month, we found that you were going from some sort of like a chrysalis mode to a place where you're going to be able to use some of what you've learned. And we've even seen that echoed as recently as a couple of days ago. So, of course, you're still learning, but this is an interesting turn. So, let's check in on you, check in on things just in general, see how that's going. As you know, these are general readings, they are for all signs. And we also know it's not going to resonate with everybody, but if it does resonate with you, please do subscribe because these readings are all connected and hit like so I'm aware of which readings are more important to you, which ones are more interesting to you. I'm going to read for you with the Constellation Tarot, and then I'm going to clarify with the Aquarian Tarot here in a moment. Um, We'll go ahead and get started with the energetic backdrop for the month. And we've already had part of the month go by. So this is going to be sort of for that remainder of the month. And it won't be over right at the end. I mean, it's the energy that you're moving into toward across the month. And we've got the Five of Pentacles in reverse. So this is an interesting energy because it has to do with bouncing back. It's bouncing back, but doing so in a meaningful way because you are opening a door for yourself that previously you might have known that you wanted to go through, but you might not have realized that you actually held the key. So this has you walking through those doors during the second half of this month. So at the beginning of the month, we saw that you were going into a place where you were going to be able to use some of what you've learned. It feels like you coming into an awareness about some of what you've learned. We'll see a little bit more when we go in to clarify that one. Let's see what kind of energy you're actually moving into as you go into the second half of this month. So we may see that some of it's already starting to appear now. It doesn't wait for the calendar to flip over before, new energy comes in. Just sort of happens gradually, evenly. So we've got sometimes unevenly, we've got the Venus card here, which is the equivalent of the Empress card in this deck. And the Venus card is about the balance on the feminine side. So, if you saw the last reading, which was a soulmate reading, it was about soulmates and separation. And it's for anybody that was having separation or, I guess, issues with communication. And one of the things that came up was the balance of masculine energy in that reading. And what I'm seeing here is the balance of the feminine energy being called into question. But you're going to be in a very different place to answer this call than you might have been otherwise. So remembering that everyone holds that masculine and feminine energy, the balance, for it to be balanced within you is significant, but also for it to be balanced across relationships, for it to be balanced with the situation is also significant. So sometimes when we're presented with a new situation, there's a new balance that has to be struck. And so you're moving toward an energy where your balance for that feminine energy is going to be called into question. But again, like I said, with what you've been doing, with the energy that you're currently in, this answer is going to be different than it would have been a month ago. Let's see what sticks out the most for you here. This is a really promising energy. Your energy it's got that sense of being on the upward side of a trajectory. It's a very positive, forward looking sort of energy. And we've got the Six of Cups in reverse here. There is a feeling of moving forward and just being able to do so unfettered with a certain type of freedom, an emotional freedom that it doesn't have you looking back and wondering what might have been or what could have been. This is an emotional freedom that allows you to look forward, like you have found something that you're focusing on and you're just moving forward toward that. So that's interesting. That's kind of I mentioned that the readings were all connected, and we've had some readings here lately. It feels like a lot of them where you've been encouraged to move forward in a new direction because it was going to, I believe the way the last reading put it, it was going to ignite your soul. So, but that concept has been coming up. And here, this feels kind of like that. It feels like moving forward without thinking about what's in the past quite as much. So there's an abandon, like a not abandonment. It's there's a reckless abandon sort of moving forward without even worrying about what's behind you. Not denying what's behind you, but not focusing on it right now. So that's interesting. That's what sticks out the most about it is that sense of desire to move forward and to just be interested in looking forward. This is not artificial. This is not something you're forcing on yourself. You're able to actually look at this. So let's see what another critical energy is that's acting upon you at this time. Something else that's important at this time. We've got a couple of cards that wanted to come out for that. So we've got the Queen of Wands in reverse, and we've got Halley's Comet in reverse. So Halley's Comet is in the upright. It is it's it's the equivalent of the Hermit card, but the idea here is not as much that you're going off and gathering this wisdom to yourself the way that the traditional hermit's card, the way that I often read this, but that these things are going to come around for you. We've also, so there's going to be information or new information, wisdom is that's what I want to say that comes around for you. And your ability to take it in, process it, and do the right things with it are going to be notoriously different than they maybe once were. So that's what this Queen of Wands is telling me here. Interesting. So you're going to be gathering some new wisdom to yourself, and you're going to be able to use it in a way that you have historically maybe never been able to use it before because you have gained some new insight that allows you to see it differently. Interesting. So this is all about what we already saw happening where you were going to be moving into a place where you were going to be able to utilize some of what you've learned. This second half of the month is you putting some things into motion. It's about you utilizing some of what you've learned. This is really neat. Let's take a look at what you can't see from where you're standing, something that would help to clear up a mystery for you. So this is hidden energy. Could be a misunderstanding, could be a missed opportunity, and you crossed wires with somebody, not quite sure what's going on. But this is going to be something you can't quite see from where you're standing, but that might help to help you understand something a little bit better if you did. And we have the Five of Cups. Oh, well, that's regret. Somebody is experiencing some regret about something, but it's a situation where you don't necessarily feel like they are. You might be feeling like they are also walking away with no real memory of the past, not thinking of the past. So you're legitimately going to be doing that, but in a way that has you more following something other than this, and not so much as here I'm intentionally forgetting about something. This, with the Five of Cups, is regret and an inability to look at a big picture. This is somebody around you. I don't feel like this is you. If you share this, the part that you might share is that it's hard to see the big picture and that you might be focusing heavily on the negative side of something. But I really see that lifting away as you gain this wisdom, as you work through this Five of Pentacles in reverse with the this is liberating yourself and letting yourself into a new emotional space. So let's see here what you can be doing to prepare yourself for what you're moving towards. So we know that feminine energy gets examined, it gets called into question, and we have the earth in reverse. So this is an unfinished cycle. So there's something that is an unfinished cycle, something that got interrupted as the cycle was playing out and has not had the opportunity to finish itself. So there is something that you're going to have to attend to, whether it is finding closure for yourself or creating closure for the situation. It feels like that's what has to happen here. And you're going to be able to use some of this newfound, I suppose it's not necessarily newfound. Some of you have been in this experience for a couple years, a few years at this period, at this point. And so when you look back, you have a lot that you're maybe not looking back on as you move forward, but you also have a lot of fixing that you've been doing along the way. And so figuring out what has been solved as you come up against new challenges, you sometimes will learn, oh, hey, I'm farther along than I realized in some places, and maybe still got some work to do in other places. Here's a place where your person, if you're dealing with a person where somebody in your midst is not looking at things in a thorough and well rounded way. There's a sense of focusing more heavily on the negative. But again, this is something that's hidden from you. So you may not realize the extent to which this is happening, or you may not realize that it's happening. Either way, as you move toward the end of this month, you're moving into a place where you're going to be investigating, evaluating, calling into question this feminine energy, the balance of this feminine energy. And this is going to be important to you as you move through evaluating cycles and trying to determine what's done, what's not done, what still needs to be completed as far as cycles in your life are concerned. So let's go ahead and get in and clarify. This is really, again, uplifting, positive. Looks like the trajectory is upward, but it doesn't seem like you're out of the woods. It seems like you're still going to have to answer for some things. And I feel that here, but I also feel like this is not undue. This is something that during the course of normal, natural life, you're going to come up against things where you have to say, I'm questioning this. I'm questioning myself. I'm questioning the balance. I'm making sure that I'm approaching this the right way. So it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's an opportunity to do that. So let's look at this 5 of Pentacles in reverse. So this is your energetic backdrop for the back half of the month, for kind of the month in general. But as we think about updating the energy for the month, what did you want to tell us? What's that energetic backdrop? And it's that 5 of Pentacles in reverse. So it's that opening the door for yourself. It's letting yourself into something that you always had the power, but you didn't always quite understand maybe how to use it, had the key, but didn't know where to insert it. You know, you've learned some things here recently. And so that's going to play into your ability to open these doors. You have the 6 of Cups. It's things that have happened in your past. So here, when I said you weren't going to be focusing on the past, as you it's like you're confidently striding forward towards something, but you're not going to be focused on that past, but you aren't going to be avoiding it. You're not going to be ignoring it or denying it. Here, this is you paying it the homage and the importance that it deserves. You are not walking away from it and ignoring it. You're putting it in its proper place. So it's something that has an energy that is part of you, and you acknowledge that, you bring that in, but you don't necessarily focus on it in an undue way. Here, though, we have you giving it its proper due. You have it, you're making sure that you are experiencing fully. That's coming off of this card really significantly, and I don't know that he usually does. Not that it doesn't. It's not like it's a cursory experience, but it's like you're really leaning in to what you've learned here, what you've experienced here. You may have some nostalgic times ahead of you, but nostalgic times that aren't so sad. And that's where this door is opening. When the nostalgia starts to feel a little bit less sad, because it means that some of the things that it pulls up in you, issues about the past or the future, it's usually not about the present. But as those things come up for you, you'll solve them. You've been solving them. We see that here. So five of rods. Okay, awesome card. Awesome. I was feeling something. I didn't know how to put this into words, but now I do. Okay, so this five of rods is all about. This is a card of struggle. Five of rods is a card of struggle, but it is also a card of potential. So it is the ability to take all of this effort that gets utilized in the struggle and to put things right, to make more out of it. So you've got five rods, but only four people here, and the efforts that you could put forth, like the effort itself, is going to take on a little bit of a life of its own, and so that's where you end up with the outcome being the sum being greater than, or the whole being greater than the sum of its parts, and that's what you have potential for here, either in a positive direction for you or a negative direction for you. And so this is where you have that springboard where you can kind of jump off, but you're doing it. You are opening that door for yourself is a huge deal. That is a huge deal. And the fact that you can do so with your eyes wide open, looking at the past and everything that you've learned, pulling it all in together and making something productive out of it is going to take you far. Again, the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. So all these efforts that you put in are, you're going to get that back plus some. Let's look at this Venus cards. This is really positive, abundant energy. It's you're attracting abundance to yourself. With this Venus card, you're going to be evaluating. This is the energy that you're moving toward. So it's you evaluating that balance that you have on the feminine side. You've got your masculine and your feminine energy, and this is something that you have to have balance within yourself and among you're among people and entities and your situations. And so here's something where you have to look and see if it's balanced the way that you want it to be. You have to look to see if there's going to be any adjustment required. And what you'll discover is, hey, I didn't learn some things. I didn't learn some things that I thought that I did. Sorry. I was watching the cards come out and I'm like, no, no. But it's not like this happens. Okay, so it is it's some things that need to change but haven't changed. Okay, that's one of the things that you're going to discover when you get in and do this soul searching. I will first say it's not the end of the world. This is not like what threw you into whatever this is. this is this is not of that same type of magnitude. This is much more mellow and much more of a hey. I've been here before. I've seen this situation. I've done this. I know how to get in and do the work. Just point me at it, and you're going to have this energy of being ready to jump into it because you've got this very positive energy that you're coming off of. Like I said, your trajectory is already up, so you've got this momentum. So when you run into this thing, and we've been seeing it, if you look at previous readings, when you get into this and you find the thing that needs to change but hasn't, you're utilizing what you've already learned to help get you there. So you don't have everything that you need. You don't have everything that you need. And we know that with the Halley's Comet and some of the new wisdom that's going to come around but hasn't quite come around to you yet. That it's in reverse because it hasn't quite come around yet. And this is about you determining what you know and what you don't know. There are some doors you haven't yet opened. Okay, so the Ace of Pentacles is about a door that opens. It typically opens pretty slowly. Sometimes it's hard to tell if it's going to open to you. Here, you've just opened a bunch of doors for yourself. This is really significant, whatever is happening in your current energy here. It's like the sun is coming out within you across the second half of February. But you get in there and you figure out, oh, I still have some things to learn. Again, not the end of the world. It's you've got an unfinished cycle, and recognizing that and understanding that there are some things that you're going to want to reach out and look for is incredibly helpful. So maybe we'll see more when we go to clarify that. But I'd be curious to know how you identify what the pieces are that you need to look into. But we know that what you're moving toward is a need to do some evaluation, and you're going to find some things that aren't quite done. So that's good. It identifies your next step. We also know that what sticks out here is this Six of Cups in reverse. So this is you going boldly toward something special, toward that Nine of Cups, toward we've been talking about that in the previous readings, and so I feel like I can just say it, but it's that Nine of Cups that has been all about understanding what it is that you truly want. The Ten of Cups, which sometimes shows up in the upright and sometimes shows up in the reverse, but really often hasn't been showing up. That's been about discernment, what you do when you get up close to something and you determine the true nature of it, whether or not it's too good to be true. So, here with this Six of Cups, you're not thinking so much about the past and what has brought you to this current place, even though it is very much a part of you. Instead, what you're doing is you're focusing on something that is down the road. Let's see a little bit more about this Six of Cups. So, we've got the Page of Cups. Okay, so it's like an inspiration, potentially some new communication that you are inspired to make. Interesting. I thought it was coming your direction, but it feels like maybe it's a communication. Somebody that you might want to reach out to that you haven't talked to in a while, that you think about them and you think about where you've come from and all these things, and you realize, wow, you know what? Um, Here's a situation that I had maybe let go of and just kind of let go into my past. But I just want to let you know something really positive happened here. And thank you, maybe thank you. But there's also some element of overthinking that happens here. So whether or not you reach out could be part of what happens or what changes there. Also, though, it's as you're going through here, you're discovering, and this is as you're moving toward the end of the month, you're discovering here are some things that maybe I don't have completely sorted. I don't necessarily have everything all figured out that I know how I want to handle this. And that maybe leads to a little bit of overthinking because you have this, you're moving towards something. You're inspired. You have this inspired, glowing sense around you, and yet there's this sense of overthinking. Like you're doing that in spite of the overthinking. And the overthinking is all about what you figure out you don't have solved here. So it's almost like you just need a plan. Um, we see here when we looked, I want to jump in and clarify this one too, because this is so connected with the feelings that have been coming out with some of the previous readings as well. This was me asking what a critical energy was that was acting upon you at this time. And we see that you don't have this wisdom that's going to come around to you. You don't have all of that figured out just yet, but you do have. This level of awareness and consideration that comes from the Queen of Wands in reverse that you may not have had before, and that you may not have really it, it's a new development, so it's not something that you would have employed periodically. It's just something that you've recently added into your ability to handle things. It's all about that lesson that keeps coming up for us. This is the unfinished cycle, the discomfort, the thorn in your side. This is that not having all the answers yet and still being able to navigate and really to just kind of let go and be able to be there. That is growing. That ability to be or comfortable in an uncomfortable situation is growing with you there. And here we have that temperance, the hard won balance, that everything does not have to be perfect in order for you to be in balance. It simply means that you know how to strike that balance. And that's what we've got here with this temperance card. So, this is something to be very happy about, that this energy is happening around you, because it's saying that you've got this unfinished cycle. You've got these loose ends. You've got this situation where you don't have all the wisdom that you need and you're painfully aware of it. There are doors that haven't opened, something hasn't changed for you yet. It's like you're wondering, how much of this will I have to go through again, as far as the cycle that has recently happened with you and your learning. And the answer is you always have new cycles to go through, but this one doesn't look tumultuous. It doesn't look super painful. You can do a little bit of meditation to work past this Eight of Swords, this overthinking feeling, because honestly, this is a prison you can get yourself out of. And this card here tells me that you figured out how to do that on some level. So let's take a look at this Five of Cups. This was that hidden energy, and there's a regret somewhere within someone that you're dealing with, and possibly even within yourself, that basically involves you not being able to look at the whole situation or look at the situation as a whole. Instead, it's more that focusing on things that aren't necessarily the positive sides, but having kind of an unbalanced way. So ideally, you would have the Five of Cups in reverse, where you'd have that balance. You'd be able to look at both the positive and the negative together. But here there's an undue focus on the negative, and it creates a lot of fear that works against your strength. When we see the Strength card, we see that there's going to be an interaction there with fear. And so when the Strength card is in reverse, it's the fear winning out. We also have the Seven of Rods, though, and that's going to be that protection from the universe, that feeling of comfort, internal comfort, that is just really it's the internal truth that comes in with the situation. It's going to be what turns this Five of Cups upside down, and what to a certain extent has already started to do that, and giving you that broader perspective, that more well-rounded perspective. And with the Knight of Rods here, you really see just kind of a feeling of inaction, not moving forward because of that fear, because of that focus on something, just kind of a lack of motivation that comes from it. And so that may be the missed opportunity, or the kind of, I guess you could say, misunderstanding. But the energy to get past it really is here. It's just maybe not something that has clicked into place yet, especially because you're seeing, wait, here's what I haven't done yet. The good news is you're in a great position, and you have nice momentum to move right past this and into some new lessons, because the lessons that you've already learned have started to give you some momentum, like we were seeing before, in a positive direction. So let's take a look at this Earth in reverse. This is a cycle that is not ready to be closed out yet. And this is something that you're going to be wanting to work on. You need to be looking for something that allows you to exercise your ability to let go. So as you go in and you investigate your Empress energy, your feminine balance, you're going to discover that you've got something somewhere that has you anxiously holding on, in a way that you are going to see it, and you're going to say, I haven't figured out the key to letting go of this yet. So be looking for that, because as I saw this Earth, I was wondering, well, can you tell me what it is that's going to help us identify that what needs to be healed here in order to move forward? Because you've got such beautiful energy going, and you've got this ability to move forward, so you might as well take it while you've got it, and it's not one of those stagnant times. Look for a situation that makes you just feel unhappy, and like you can't stop being uncomfortable with it. It's maybe a situation where you're with somebody that you don't want to be around, and you can't stop realizing that this doesn't feel right. Maybe it's even somebody that you've historically liked, but you get in there and you're just like, we don't jive anymore. It's no longer right. Listen to that. That's going to be part of you sealing this up. It's going to be part of what you need to do, and it may even be part of what it is that you need to let go of. So be looking for something that makes you inherently uncomfortable, and that you realize you've got maybe more of an attachment to, and less of a motivation to be around. Um, I want to pull you an oracle card as well. So I always pull out these oracle cards, but I don't always use them. This is the Pure Magic Oracle, and it's one of my favorites. Usually creates a pretty visual um, message in me. So we've got card number 8. This is the Hidden Familiars, and underneath it says allies, natural assistance, divine support, comfort. Okay. And what really sticks out for me here is the comfort and the divine support. So, this divine support is what I was trying to talk about with regard to what's at your core that's automatically going to help make things better for you. It's that protection, it's that ability to confront whatever's in front of you. You're going to be fine because you have that support at your core. But this This is the comfort. So you've got that trajectory that you're on right now that helps you to channel this protection, this ability to feel supported and protected as you move into these situations where you discover, oh, hey, here are some things I haven't quite figured out yet. But you take some of this momentum into it with you, not the least of which being, hey, I recently did some learning. I might know how to approach this or how to start approaching this. That's a big deal. So, with this being a general reading and with the way the messages have come out, I'm not going to extend this one. I'm going to go ahead and just leave it here like this. This wasn't the soulmate one. We'll do a soulmate one probably tomorrow, and that one I'll do as a pick a card because that one has needed to be that way, or a pick a pile. That one has needed to be that way in recent months, and it certainly was at the beginning of the month, so I expect it will be tomorrow as well. I hope this was helpful, though, in that more general sense and just kind of looking at the big picture. And I look forward to seeing you again in another reading.